Nope, afraid not. Well, hello, Blue Troopers. Max of Max's Models here, and today we're going to talk about, well, actually, this video was made yesterday for a timed release this morning. So yesterday, I was going to finish off that JS2, and, it's the simplest things. I figured I'm done. I just had to paint the tank commander and glue the upper hull onto the lower hull, and I was done. Oh, and mud up the tracks a little bit. And of course, it just never goes as planned. Well, first off, with paint on paint with a turret, it gave me some trouble getting off the tank because even though I rotate, just to even rotate it because the paint on paint friction, well, the problem was that the hulls wouldn't seal. So I had to get clamps on them, so I had to remove the turret, which of course resulted in knocking off one of the grab handles, which broke in half when I tried to put it back on. Fortunately, the kit had one spare, so okay, we got that drying. And then when I finally got the turret off, clamps were flying all over the place. That sloped armor finally got it to lock down, so used some pretty thick CA glue this time because the other stuff wasn't getting it. And I'm just going to leave it till I get back from PamsCon. And so that I got the tank commander painted. So finally, once I get, oh yeah, and then the tracks kept popping off. I had pre-painted them with acrylics, but of course, even if you sand out the paint, you just never get as much of a glue bond. I was trying to use Tamiya thin, and it just didn't have enough bite, so I wound up having to use the thick CA. And so, you know what? I actually am starting to prefer the vinyl tracks or rubber tracks to these plastic ones because they're actually a little tougher to deal with than you would think. And the KV2, where I glued them on and painted them later, went a lot easier than this. They just have trouble getting lined up and biting correctly and abutting each other. A lot more filing and sanding than I expected. But other than that, simple kit. What can I say? The joys of model building. Got the M38 Jeep into the paint booth and got started on it, pre-painting everything and touching it up. I'm going to glue the hood down, but I went ahead and shot it with black first, just real quick, and then I'm going to seal everything up and hit it all with all drab. That actually went without too many headaches, and it's just rattle can because it's all one color. But I'd still have to do the tires and touch it up and the decals. But it's coming together pretty well. But little tiny things like windshield wipers that are infinitesimal in size and have to go over clear parts, I am going to tack those on last, but I'll probably use something like white glue on that so it doesn't mess up the paint, or maybe the quick setting thin. But little things like that you got to be real careful with. I also decided to go ahead and put some plastic putty over the Tamiya putty on the glacis plate of that Panther, because even though I'm just doing this faux Zimmerman for kicks and giggles, it got a little, it looked too sloppy even for me, so I'm going to re-etch it, rescribe it. This time, take my time, a little more care. I was kind of fast and loose last time. But anyway, if you're watching this, I'm probably on my merry way to PamsCon. And with that said, there's one more little thing that I stumbled onto by accident, so stand by for rabbit hole descent. I was cruising Scalemates, and I saw this. Lindberg had Russell Casse's PT-17 Stearman from the movie Independence Day. Now, I looked at it and went, wait a minute, that's not Russell Casse's Stearman. If you remember the movie, Russell Casse's Stearman had the big, probably 450 Pratt & Whitney on it, and it was set up as a crop duster. At least they covered up the forward cockpit. So if you want to make a crop duster out of this one, you got to remove the forward windshield, put a cover over it, and then put a big engine on it. Also, this is just the re-release of the old Stearman kit from Lindberg in 1/48 scale, so there's no spreader bar. Now, the one in the movie did not actually have a spreader bar either. If you look between the landing gear, what you see are smoke dispensers. Convincing enough for the short amount of time it's on air. It's not a big deal. But they didn't even bother, to my knowledge. I have someone that said they're going to send me this kit that they have. To my knowledge, they don't even add any extra parts to it, but I'll have to see that when I actually get into the kit. So you still, if you want to modify your Stearman to be a crop duster, you still need to make a few changes to it. And I'm not exactly sure how that happened. Maybe when I was looking for images of crop dusters, I stumbled onto the famous scene in North by Northwest with Cary Grant, and that led even further down the rabbit hole. First off, I wound up watching a 14-minute video on the making of that scene, and there's a couple of myths. First off, that was not Paul Mantz flying the airplane. It wasn't his plane. That was a crop duster that belonged to a guy named Bob Coe, who was a duster pilot. Even though it's supposed to be taking place in Indiana, it was actually shot outside of Bakersfield, and they just hired a local crop duster pilot, and I assume he had his own airplane. He got like $150 a day and $100 an hour. Anyway, so I just got curious. And so they'd be like, oh, no, that's got to be Art Skoll's Stearman or Paul Mantz's Stearman. And just out of curiosity, I caught the N number off the airplane. This is actually from the shot with the model. Some people criticize it, but it's on the scene for such a short period of time. I think it's fine. But that number turned out, I just got curious, so I went to the FAA registry, and the airplane's still registered, but it's not a Stearman. It's an N3N3. For those who don't know, the United States Navy used to actually have its own aircraft factory where they built their own airplanes. It was called the Naval Aircraft Factory. That's why it has that second N, and that was their designation for planes they built themselves. N3N meant trainer, third model from the Naval Aircraft Factory, third version. And it turns out, now people often confuse the N3N with a Stearman because they look a lot alike. But one giveaway is that there is a heavy topside strut on the tail of the N3N. The Stearman just has little guy wires, so supporting stays there. But the N3N has these like regular struts on it that you can see on top. And if you see it from the side, the N3 also has a brace on the landing gear. N3Ns were converted into crop dusters, but everybody goes, oh, he's being chased by a Stearman. And I thought that until 10 minutes ago. Nope, it's an N3N. And that airplane, according to the FAA registry, was deregistered in 2012 when it went to Canada. So there's a cool piece of useless trivia for you. Well, guys, that's what I have for now. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I might do a live stream from the PAMSCon if I can. I'll take my laptop with me and see how that works out. You take care of yourselves. We'll see you after PAMSCon. Maybe even have a live stream Sunday night. You take care of yourselves, and as always, model on.